what do you recall of your first weeks in WWE? How was the locker room? How easy or difficult way to adjust into completed different roster?
Yeah, it was a big change for me, because I moved from South Africa to the US, so that was a big move for me. Um, First couple of weeks, people didn't really know who I was or what I'm capable of, so people were kind of like rude or mean, for lack of a better term, because they were just like, ah, who's this kid? Because at that time at FCW, they were signing a lot of like models and football players and non-wrestlers, so people didn't think that I was a wrestler. But then, after the first few matches, or people saw what I could do, everyone was like, "Oh wow, can you teach me some of that?" And people were really like really pleased to work with me, if you will. It was a fun time, definitely a fun experience. I met so many cool people in developmental, and still to this day, I came over to the US just by myself with my wrestling gear, and all the friends I made, all the guys from Nexus, they still my friends and they like my family till today.
I'll translate that to Spanish. ¿Qué recuerda PJ de sus días iniciales en WWE? Esa transición de mudarse de Sudáfrica a Estados Unidos siempre fuerte, pero hizo amigos, conoció personas para el resto de su vida y fue una bonita experiencia trabajar en el territorio de desarrollo y todavía es amigo, de hecho, de sus muchachos de Nexus. Lo que me lleva a mi próxima pregunta. So let's talk about when you got called up into the main roster and in what a way you do it. You were part of the first season of NXT. Who gave you the call up to the main roster? Like, who notified you? PJ, or at that point, Justin Gabriel, you're going to be a part of history?
So they were trying to create, I don't know if you can remember NXT season 1, right?
Yeah.
They were trying to create that reality show, but they were trying to do something like the UFC one, the Ultimate Fighter, where all the guys stay in the house and compete, and they were trying to make it like that. But in real wrestling fashion, they ran out of time, and the day that we were supposed to go live, like, oh wow, we don't have anything yet, so I guess we'll just do some kind of wrestling show with some competitions. And it was very random, not scripted, it was all over the place. And I forget, it was a whole group of us, so not one person gave me a phone call, so it was the whole NXT group got pulled into the office, and I think Dr. Tom and Dusty Rhodes told us about the whole plan.
I'll translate that. ¿Quién fue la persona o las personas en notificarle? Dr. Tom Pritchard y Dusty Rhodes son quienes lo reúnen. No a él solo. You're still in an amazing shape, man. Dr. Tom Pritchard y Dusty Rhodes los contactan, los reúnen a todo el grupo de NXT. Ellos estaban tratando de crear algo similar a lo que hacía UFC con Ultimate Fighter, en donde tienen estas pistas de obstáculos y todo, y eventualmente no funcionó lo que ellos querían hacer, pero sacaron algo mejor que estamos hablando de lo que es Nexus. Fabricio, puedes ir directamente entonces a la próxima pregunta, que es la octava.
So, what can you reveal of Bane's conversation with Nexus the night of the debut? That was crazy, man. That night is so crazy.
Yeah, we didn't know really what to expect, because usually in wrestling, storylines and stuff are just recycled from other times, but this was something completely unique, so we didn't have anywhere to draw inspiration from or know what to expect. We were in this little office, and Vince basically told us, this is what you will do, and all of us were like, huh, okay. And we did it, and yeah, it came out good. Vince is a genius. It was all his idea.
Perfect. I'll translate that. Fue idea completamente de Vince, porque como él dice, es un genio, y les dice, esto es lo que vamos a hacer, y ellos simplemente se encargaron de ejecutar. What went through your mind specifically? You worked with Heath Slater for a while. Like, yes, there was the Nexus. You guys did have an incredible impact, but you worked with Heath as a tag team, basically in the core, in the Nexus, and everywhere you went. So, first of all, how was working with Heath Slater? And secondly, what went through your mind when the referee mentioned to ring the bell after he counted 3 and you won the tag team titles for the first time in your career?
That was pretty surreal, because yeah, me and Heath, for the first 3 or 4 years on the road, we traveled together on the plane, in the car, we shared hotel rooms together, so he was like my brother. We did everything together. So winning the tag title with him was like, it was pretty awesome. It was, I don't even know what word to use there, but he's like my brother, man. He's one of the most talented guys out there. People don't realize, you know, a lot of the companies don't use him to his full potential, but he's extremely talented. So for me, it was super fun. It was super easy. And I just remember when the ref counted 3, I just looked at Heath and he was just like, I was happy, but he was ecstatic. Like I've never seen anybody that happy ever, man. And like we were driving that night. I think we had a 3-hour drive and he would just go like this, whoo, 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 like the whole time, you know. He's just a very happy guy, good human, good soul, great wrestler.
I know Heath, and I've heard that before, so I'll translate that to Spanish. Le pregunto sobre trabajar con Heath Slater. Si él trabajó con The Nexus, si él trabajó con The Core, pero trabajaron, Heath y él eran uña y mugre, estaban todo el tiempo juntos. Como él dice, Heath es mi hermano, un excelente ser humano, un alma hermosa, una persona dispuesta a trabajar. Y él recuerda de la primera noche que ganaron los títulos en pareja, cuando el árbitro cuenta 3, como que Justin estaba, o PJ estaba bien contento, pero Heath estaba estático, estaba como que nunca había visto a alguien tan feliz en su vida. Y cuando viajaron esa noche, Heath estaba, como él dice, como que como que emocionado, estaba con esa adrenalina en sí todavía en el vehículo. Fabri, la próxima.
That was amazing, bro. How was your experience working with John Cena and many veterans in the roster? What did you learn it with them?
Yeah, I mean, you learn something from everybody you work, whether they're a veteran or, you know, a newcomer, you or a rookie, you always learn something, man. Before Eddie Guerrero died in the UK, I spoke to him and he's like, man, every day I learn something. And to me, Eddie was one of the best, all-time best, you know. So, and I realized that at that time. I was like, wow, yeah, I do learn something. Even if it's something negative or something small, you always learn something. Working with John Cena, I have learned so much. That guy is on another level. You know, people give him shit for being who he is. I mean, you know, he's the wrestling Superman, but you know, he deserves all the fame and everything he's had. I mean, people might disagree, but he works really, really hard. You know, he's very talented. He understands wrestling. He understands entertainment. He understands how to entertain a crowd, but more importantly, he understands how to take people on an emotional roller coaster, because that's what wrestling is, right? It's like live theater. If you and he always, that's one thing I learned from him. He says, whether they cheer you or boo you, that's great. You know, it's when they do nothing, that's when it's a problem.
I'll translate that to Spanish. PJ trabajó con muchas superestrellas como John Cena, entre muchísimas otras superestrellas, y menciona que la gente podrá hablar lo que sea de John Cena, pero John Cena es como un Superman de la lucha libre. Es una persona que se merece todo el éxito y la fama que tiene. Y Cena le enseñó a trabajar con un público, vamos a decirlo de esa manera, porque él dice, la lucha libre es como teatro, como hacer teatro, pero en vivo, hacerlo live. Y entonces nace esa oportunidad de trabajar con Cena, y él dice que Cena es como una montaña rusa de emociones, al igual que la industria de la lucha libre, y le enseñó que, ok, si te abuchean, estás haciendo algo bien, si te aplauden, estás haciendo bien, si no reaccionan, ahí es donde puede haber el problema. Fabricio, vámonos para la 13.
Okay, Michael. So, why did you and the WWE parted separate ways? Why?
There was just a bunch of conflict of interests, if you will. You know, I didn't feel like I was being used to my full potential, and I kept pitching ideas, and you know, maybe I should have stuck out a little bit longer, but at that time, you know, I think I was 35, 36. I was kind of, you know, getting up there, so I wanted to do more stuff, and I wanted to see what else is out there. You know, my plan was always to wrestle all over the world, and I have now. I've wrestled in 65 countries. But yeah, most of that thanks to WWE and growing up in Africa. But you know, it was. I'm very blessed. It was a very, very fun experience. You know, and I mean, I think I'm not even in my prime yet. So you know, I still have a lot of things that I want to do and achieve. So at that time, I felt like I had to leave. That was the right choice. I mean, it was very hard for me. It was extremely hard because it was my dream to be there.
I'll translate that. PJ menciona que pues obviamente fue algo bien difícil tomar caminos separados con la WWE, pero él sentía que ya no lo estaban utilizando como debían, que su potencial era demasiado grande, que él quería hacer otras cosas con su vida también, y sentía que WWE ya no era el lugar para estar y lograrlas. Entonces él menciona que su meta era viajar todo el mundo, ha viajado 65 países, 65 different countries, algunos con WWE, algunos en el circuito independiente, y poco a poco va concretando sus metas.